All right. Today's question is, can we search a deceased victim's cell phone? Right? Okay. So comes from an officer in Alabama. Let me give you the context here. Recently at overdoses, our narcotics unit has been wanting to seize the cell phones for the purpose of searching them. The goal is to charge a drug dealer with the death of the individual, right? As well as general information gathering. Maybe they can point the right finger in the direction of local dealers in the city and so forth. Now, the cop says, my understanding is that since the person is deceased, they no longer have a Fourth Amendment right, and the deceased has no more privacy interest in the phone, and they can perform the search without a warrant. Now, the only hiccup the officer is seeing here is that what if the family member says, no, you cannot take our son's cell phone. You cannot take our daughter's cell phone. We want it. That's going to be ours because we're going to inherit his property. Do they now have to get a warrant if they do not give consent? All right, well, look, I kind of talked about cell phones before, but let me just readdress it because it's a very important issue. Generally speaking, there is no privacy interest that the drug dealer has in the phone. So even if the cops search the phone without the family's consent, even though they may get the property in probate or whatever, right? The family doesn't have most likely a privacy interest in the phone. It's the son's phone. It's his phone. Now, even if they got the phone after the death, they still have no privacy interest in the information. So we're not going to really have an issue there. Even if they had a privacy interest, even if the only time the Fourth Amendment is going to be implicated is if they're being charged. So if the mom, for example, says you cannot have my phone, my son's cell phone, and we find out later that she paid the bill, she has common authority over the phone, she often uses it because the son allows her to use it, and blah blah blah. That's not going to come up that's not going to be an issue in the criminal case against the drug dealer, unless the drug dealer is mom, right? So even if mom has a privacy interest, it's not going to come into court because the drug dealer, if it's not mom, it's some third party who's dealing drugs in the city, is not going to be able to go through mom to try to claim that he has some privacy interest. So again, it's at the end of the day, the result is probably the same. So just to wrap up, if somebody dies and they have a cell phone and police, then the guy the deceased no longer has a privacy interest. He's not going to complain, right? Obviously. And even if somebody else, like the family member that has some tie to the phone, complains, their denial, even for a warrantless search, is not going to be effective as long as they're not a defendant, right? But if somehow that family member who happens to have a privacy interest in a phone, which can be rare, but they happen to have a privacy interest in a phone, if they start becoming a person of interest, Houston, we have a problem. They can complain. If they do have a legitimate privacy interest in phone, they can complain about a warrantless search. Does that make sense? Right? Maybe the case gets resolved some other way too, but that's kind of what my feeling is. So generally speaking, should you get a warrant? Go get a warrant, especially most times that you have these death investigations, cops are going to want to search the apartment anyway, or search some other things, whatever. Usually they're going to get a warrant anyway. Why not just add the cell phone to the warrant, right? Even if the law is kind of in your favor, that there's no standing by the drug dealer. All right. Good question. I want to add to the other video, and also look for, if you search my videos, just put a cell phone and you'll see the other video I made too that even go into more situations. Hope it helps. Guys, keep the questions coming. Until next time, keep doing that great job you're doing.
When it comes to law enforcement training, we are the gold standard. Visit bluetogold.com or call 888-579-7796 to learn more about our training, books, and free webinars. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel.